Here. Hey guys, welcome back to the StarGirl episode 12, season 1 after show. I am so happy to be back here with you guys talking about episode 12. It is almost the last episode of this season, which is crazy. There's only one more left, and it's been a wild season. I've absolutely loved all the action. This episode in particular had a ton of action. We had lots of great fights. We had another death that was surprising. And we saw a lot more of Mike and the family dynamic. And actually, finally, the whole JSA, including Justin, all together. So I really loved the episode. But before we get into talking about it, I want to introduce my wonderful co-host. We've got Shay Jones.
Hey guys, I am so excited to be here.
And Jeff Williams.
What up? What up? Ready to talk about the penultimate episode of StarGirl.
Yes, and this episode was called Stars and Stripe Part 1. And as we know from previous parts of the season, the Part 1 and Part 2 episodes are always really good. So I think that the last episode is going to be amazing. But guys, what were your overall thoughts on this episode in particular? Shay, you go first.
Overall, I thought it was a really great episode, even though it was a lot more informational. Like, we needed these steps to figure out we've always had a vague idea of what the plan was, but not so much of it as a completed type thing. So now we're actually kind of seeing that. And I enjoy the fact that we got to see Mike more and him being involved in, say, more than one line or two. And I know Jeff's happy with that as well. So.
And Jeff, what were your thoughts on the episode?
Yeah. Yes, I'm happy with it, but like it was still just a tease. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole episode was a tease. This is the penultimate episode. Most seasons when you have a penultimate episode, like that is when you show the most action. That is when the biggest things happen. And this one, it was a couple small like introductory fights, I say, with Sportsmaster and like all and Tigers and everything and Huntress. But like it was. What I say, Huntress, Tigers, either way, it was just like it wasn't what I was looking for. It was a big tease on this episode, but when I say that is I want so much out of this next episode. Like they have a whole big fight for JSA versus ISA, and then you still have to resolve everything that happens after that. So that's why I'm not as happy as I should be with this episode, because we had 12 episodes or 11 other episodes to get us to this point. We didn't really need to talk more about the journal and how he's still struggling for it. We didn't need all these extra small fights just to get them to the cabin. It was a lot of like open space.
Yeah, I agree with you. There was a bit of fluff in this episode, I think, in areas, and there was, but I think we've had so many kind of like unthought out or undone like relationships and people in the episodes that it was kind of nice to see like Rick getting a little bit more time and some of the other characters, I guess, having a little bit more time and not just like everything about Courtney. But I agree with you. There was a bit of fluff where maybe we could have had more depth into the actual like the timer going down and what's going to happen to America or, you know, the Midwest, which it shouldn't be called the Midwest because it's the whole country, but that's a whole other video.
Exactly.
But basically this episode starts with like a little recap where we see Brainwave remembering everything and who everyone is, and Icicle telling him at the end of the last episode, kill everyone, including Mike, because we can't have like any lineage continue. That might be a loose end. And then it opens with the countdown clock at 11 hours and showing all of Middle America basically is going to be brainwashed by Brainwave. So really good like opening there. And I loved how the ISA's kind of like con was they were going to blame it on Russia. Because what do we not blame on Russia these days, you know?
Exactly. Like it's either Russia or China. They just like it's just like just words. We're just gonna blame it on somebody at this point. But that's neither here nor there.
Exactly. And I do want to, before we get too far into this, I know we've got some questions in the chat. If you are in the chat, thank you for being here and joining us live. We really appreciate it. If you are not familiar with the show StarGirl, you can watch it on the DC app, or you can watch it on the CW or the CW app. So there's a couple places that you can watch it. It is going to be coming out also for a season 2, as we were kind of talking about before we came on air here. So that's exciting. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. It's a really great, superheroine TV show that's great for all ages, because we all love it and we're not children. So I think it's a great show that everyone will like.
I know. I kind of wish we were children though, because of their plan. Like if what happens obviously at the end and it only affects that. I think granted I have the mind of a child, so I don't know if it'll work on me, which would be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
we might act like a child, but we would all be frozen like this. And then like shaking and stuff. I was like, oh, that's not good. That's not good.
I mean, I think I would hope there maybe be even a flaw in that, because technically it says it only works on fully developed minds, right? But
yeah, so that
doesn't account for people with autism. That doesn't account for people who are adults with people with autism, because their brains, like, so there are things that may block it.
It does count for them. They're just part of the people. Technically, they're just part of the kids and people that don't have fully developed minds. You know what I'm saying? It's not, at the end of the day, we're also talking about a TV show, so they're not gonna individualize every different option. They're just gonna talk about developed, as in parents and kids. Like we can't. Well,
then technically, I am a parent, so hey, I might have passed. You never know.
That's true. And
whatever helps
guys,
you sleep at night. At the end of the day, we all gonna be frozen.
I agree. If you guys are watching this and you want to share it on social media, we will all make our frozen adult faces right now, so you can take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram story. Ready, guys? Frozen. Okay.
Shay wasn't frozen because she still thinks she's not gonna be frozen.
I was frozen.
Fine, Shay.
I paused and I looked all like blankly. I did what I was supposed to do. Thank you very much. Even though I sort of believe, I really don't think it might affect me, but whatever.
Well, and for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, we're obviously talking about this brainwave system by the Dragon King that is supposed to, basically, when everyone is brainwashed, it is going to be all of the adults that are basically frozen while this machine is percolating for 30 minutes and doing its thing. So in this episode, everyone gets basically kind of like frozen in place for 30 minutes, I guess. That's an adult, and all the children are left to be like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? So that was a really interesting moment, since we're already talking about it. I guess, what were your thoughts on that, guys? Like, were there people that you thought maybe weren't going to get frozen that did? What did you think the kids' reactions, like Courtney's reaction when she saw Pat and was like, oh no. And then the episode ended. Oh my God.
True, but Pat's different because Brainwave seeked him out on purpose.
That is true.
Like, yeah. Pat is a little different in the fact that, I'm connected to everybody, and also Pat Dugan.
Yeah,
I know what to do
Pat
here
against Courtney. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, so basically the episode, we've got the JSA, or not the JSA, the ISA is on the hunt. So we've got Tigress and Crossbow, who are back at it again, these two, and we haven't really seen them play a big part in a couple of episodes, but I kind of like it when they come out, because there are some like pretty cool action scenes. Some of the moves in this one were a little cheesy. I don't know what you guys thought about them, but a couple of Tigress's things, I was like, oh, that was realistic. But I did enjoy the fights.
Yeah, I enjoyed really just the staff in that fight. I just thought the staff was cool, kind of hanging on, trying to help Barbara in dealing with whatever was going on, because she really didn't know. And she was just kind of, I'm going to help as much as I can, but I'm also a mom that just is new to this. So it was really realistic and funny and kind of lighthearted in the same sense of seriousness, and she could get killed and we got to get out of here. but it was a great balance.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I like that too. I liked seeing like Barbara in the fight also, and Courtney coming to the rescue, and kind of that dynamic between her and her mom, and Barbara at the end was like, "Oh my God, that was awesome." She's like, "You're really cool. That was cool." So I like that she like acknowledged that Courtney was kind of a badass also, when she like saw her using the staff and kind of kicking butt. So that was a cool moment that I really liked as well. And then we've got, so that fight is actually pretty long. And then, you know, on the other side, we've got Pat, who's at the garage with Mike, and they're having their normal, like their relationship is so weird. Don't you guys think? Because Pat is so nice to Courtney. And then he's like always so hard on Mike.
No, I'm sorry. Mike gets no love for that one. Pat tried to actually tell him what was going on, but he's in there messing with the freaking screwdriver. Like first of all, you didn't grow up in my house. You would have never disrespected no parent in my house like that, regardless of how they treat whatever different sibling. You just wouldn't do that because you get popped. But again, I digress. Mike got his own little situation. However, I would have popped him if I was Pat at that moment. Like, dude, like I am trying to explain something to you. There's a reason we're about to leave. And if you want to know it, shut the hell up.
Yeah, true. Jeff, what did you think about that exchange?
You can't expect Mike to just all of a sudden be ready to listen, be expecting he's going to get the truth from the jump. Like, he's been asking to be part of the group from day one. So when his dad tells him we're leaving, I'm not going to tell you anything. Courtney doesn't tell me anything. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. He's still a really young kid, so he's not going to listen to his dad at every moment. So when it's time for Pat to want to be serious and tell him the truth, how is he supposed to just know and be like, okay, now it's time for me to be serious? Because he doesn't know the severity of this. He just knows there's a secret. So like for him to be like, turn around, shut up, this is serious. He doesn't know that. Like, he just thinks that there's a secret, and that he might think that, you know what, Courtney's his favorite his favorite child. It could be as silly as that, because that's what he's thinking. Because if you think about it, this is his dad. He's been with him for his life. So to give him an attitude, that's something a little kid would do, especially if your dad is pissing you off and is like, you have a step family and everything. It was very realistic. And I'm happy that he actually like saved his dad, kind of jumping a little further into the fight.
Yeah, totally.
And to see that his dad is a superhero without powers, because that's where I feel like Mike is gonna grow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like I need more of like the backstory of Mike and Pat, because it's almost like someone just dropped off Mike in Pat's lap like one day when he was 12 and was like, have a kid, and he was like, okay. You know, it just like the relationship is so strange, and we never see. I mean, this series has been really good about not really showing us much history really of anyone except maybe like the ISA members.
Is that a good thing though? Because like it leaves us with so many questions.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
Not to cut you off.
No, I agree. Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
Continue going.
No, go ahead. I'll jump in after.
I was gonna say, yes, it leaves us with questions, but it also like this episode to me was a lot of teasing, in the sense of not only this next episode for the fight, but for season 2, for Mike, for Shiv, for the Fiddler's son. Like there were so many small pieces that I could have dealt with in episode 11 to tease for next season, but like this whole episode was just filled with teases on different parts.
Yeah, there were a lot of like little Easter eggs and little teases of like, this is what you can expect next. Mm-hmm. So you're right. There was like a lot of little components of sprinklings of what we're going to see in the next season in this episode. Shay, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I enjoyed the fight between Sportsmaster and Pat. I mean, Pat got some hands. I mean, granted, like they weren't going to do really that much well with the Sportsmaster, but at least I know you not a streaking violet. I appreciate actually having that knowledge now. I mean, granted, because we talked about last week about how he just punched Sam last week, and if like obviously if there was a fight, would he be able to handle himself? But granted, Sam didn't have superpowers, and technically Sportsmaster is hard as a rock. So I mean the scales on that one aren't exactly level. But I enjoyed the fight, and I agree. I love the fact that Mike came in from wherever he just went,
right?
Somehow knew to pick up the drill, like because he left that on the table when he left. So my mind is, why'd you pick it up to this open door? But I mean, yeah, you came in, you shocked the dude, got him down, cool. I just have questions on how he obtained that. Like, I don't know why my mind is just stuck on why he had it and why he picked it up, but it really is.
Well, and I was also wondering the whole fight, like, where did Mike go? How far away is he? Can he not hear this? Like,
I think
what's
that was
going on?
I think that was the reason. Like, we know he didn't go too far, and that's why he heard what was going on and kind of just like waited back. That's what I'm assuming, because like when
so he wanted
like
his daddy to
you had
get
the
his
same
ass
questions like,
whooped.
wait, where did he go? And I was like, yeah, he couldn't have gone that far. So like when he came back, like it made sense.
But you just basically made it sound like he waited for his daddy to get his ass kicked and then waited for the proper moment to come and save him.
Well, he waited to see what the heck was going on. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to hear
I mean, if you
out.
think about it, it's not like you stand still, sit there, wait to hear something. Like he walked away and probably took him a minute, came back, and then said, "Oh snap, something's going on. Let me see what's going on." And then he probably got the drill and then did some thinking, because it's not just like, "Yo, I'm right here." He had to sneak up behind him. Like there was some thought behind that.
There was, yeah. I mean, that fight, honestly, for Pat was brutal. I mean, when he was like slamming his like head and body in that door, I was just like, oh God, he's not getting up. He's definitely not getting up. And he did.
I mean, he took those hands really well, surprisingly well, because I mean, granted, as soon as Mike got him in the back, he was like, don't mess with my son. Bam. Knock you out.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice, like a little like resolution, I guess, of their fight, and then kind of like having a little resolution there. Yeah, so we've got like Barbara's getting beat up over here, Mike and Pat are getting beat up over here, and then on the other hand, we've got Jordan, aka Icicle, is over with his parents, and they're discussing. Yes, they're discussing whether or not they should tell Cameron about who he really is, and so obviously he must at some point is going to get some sort of powers as well, because it runs in the family. I wonder, like, does the grandpa then have powers?
Technically, Cameron already has powers, and we kind of saw a little bit of them. And I want to say like episode 6.
Are you talking about like on his birthday or something when he was like blowing out a candle?
Yeah, but that wasn't air that he blew out. That was a colder temperature that he blew out. So obviously he already has the
like
power.
Them teasing us and stuff like that.
Basically.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a
tease.
With
like Henry King and that kind of stuff.
They made you forget about it. Now we're episode 12. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, and we got some other teases, not to jump too far ahead, but we did. That reminds me of the other tease that we got. And so I want to talk about Principal Bowen. I was like, what's that word for someone that works at a high school?
Who has the highest authority?
I love how she just came into the house thinking she was just gonna take like control both of them. Like I didn't understand that, like the plan with that. Yes, I see that realistically the writers needed to get her there to get her killed, but like the storyline just didn't make sense. Maybe it was like, yo, I needed here to get y'all online or something, but like there was no chain of command. It seemed kind of, I don't know. It just seemed like kind of set up in a sense. I mean, but hey, they set up the sun for season 2. That's what they definitely did. Because
they really did.
What instrument was that? Was it trombone?
It was a tuba.
Okay, because I don't know instruments like that. So I wanted to ask. So is he like, you think he's gonna be using a tuba instead of a fiddler? Because that's what I was assuming when he got that idea and looked straight at a tuba. I was like, maybe he's just changing, and that could be like a remix to his character. But I'd have.
What do you think his name's going to be then? The tuba? Do you think we have to say it like that too?
Honestly, I would not.
Tuba.
I feel like he'd use the tuba to get back at the dude that messed with him. But obviously now that his mom's dead and his dad's dead, I feel like he might want to take up the fiddle
mantle
as a way to be closer to his mom and his dad.
Yeah,
like
good point.
As the thing
Poor guy.
that connected him, because obviously the mom's story was the last time somebody messed with your dad, he shut him up. Oh, how? He stuck the bow through their ear. First of all, bad parenting. I just really want to say that. I'm sorry. She said that with a cold, straight face.
And she knew what she did, though. But she knew exactly what she was doing. She's like, I'm prepping the next generation.
Totally.
I'm not saying she didn't. However, that's still bad parenting either way. Because like legit, that is how hurt people hurt people.
Well, look at Tigress and Sportsmaster. I mean, their parenting skills are really top.
Those are hurt people hurting that person. Like, yeah, their daughter's like messed up in the head next season.
Well, I mean, they're very sadistic, advice. So I feel like that's like a whole other situation. But like you said, Jeff, how she strolled up in the house thinking she was gonna. First of all, I mean, granted, like you said, for the writing point, obviously you needed her to do that so she could die. So you can set up the son. I got you. However, it just seemed very off-brand for who Principal Bowen was. That's where it got me. It seemed very off-brand for her to be like, I am here to like make sure you don't mess up. And then I'm also going to tell you how to be a parent to your child when you know they've killed like at least 4 different coaches.
Yeah, like I needed her to be more well established for us to like care that she's there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, we haven't seen enough of her.
We get that she's like the fiddler's wife, but like, why would Tigress and Sportsmaster care? You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just another member to them.
And not even a good member there. Like you took your husband's place. You weren't even supposed to be here.
Right. She hasn't shown any authority for us to like believe she has any sort of power over anyone else. So I agree with you there. Which is why I guess they killed her. They were like, we're not listening to you. Get out of here. Don't yell at us.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of was hoping when she turned and like she had the crossbow, like she would actually kind of move to shift her body some way instead of just like a direct hit. I don't know. I really felt like there could have, even in the final moments of death, I kind of had hope for Principal Bowen. And I didn't get it, but I had a little bit more hope for that character before that death. I don't know why I was hoping for a move that we ain't never seen before in this character, but I kind of I gave that character a lot more credit than I probably should have, apparently.
Yeah, no, it was underwhelming, I guess, as well. I agree with you there. And then, I mean, gosh, what was going on when these guys were fighting? Then we've got like Cynthia, or it's not Cynthia.
Well, Cynthia's like, I think he said it as like her full name is like Cindy. I'm pretty sure he used Cynthia in there as well.
Yeah, so we've got Cindy still locked in her little dormitory down there. And she has a conversation with Brainwave, and Brainwave basically says that if she had done a better job babysitting Henry Jr., he would still be alive. So he blames him having to kill his son on Cindy, which is kind of a dick move.
Oh, yeah.
It's what villains do. They justify what they did, blame it on other people, and make it seem right in their head. And like, I don't want to dip too far in it because this is part of my predictions, but they're just prepping in their own ways the new ISA.
Yes, I mean, this whole episode was like a prep for the new ISA, really. And yeah, it was. I mean, Shay, what were your thoughts on this conversation between Brainwave and Cindy?
First of all, if I would try to Cindy, I would kind of try to stick my hand out just to get him for blaming me for the fact that you killed your own son. Didn't nobody tell you to kill Henry Jr.? That like, you had a choice, sir, and you made a bad one. But I mean, you can't blame your choice on me. First of all, I'm locked in the room. Second of all, I didn't know he had powers because you were in a coma.
Exactly.
Which is like how his powers came to be. So if you want to blame somebody, blame the person that was in the coma, and then blame yourself because you was a terrible father who killed your son.
And I honestly thought at this moment too, I was like, does Cindy even know Henry Jr. died? I mean, I know it also happened in the tunnels, but I was like, did anyone even tell her that happened?
Good point. That's a really good point.
I was kind of expecting to see like a big reaction out of her, like, wait, Henry Jr.'s dead, but then she didn't. So I was like,
I think she compartmentalized. She's like, I feel like at that moment it was a compartmentalized for her. She's like, if I can just get out this room, I don't know what I'll do when I get out, but I just need to get out. So let me just push that, put it in a box, put it aside, but sir, get me out this room.
Well, so what are your guys? I guess I'll save this question for predictions, but I've got a good one that I want to know your guys' answers on. If I remember what it is in 5 minutes.
But that was an interesting conversation. That first of all, because he didn't even have to stop. Really, he could have kept on going. He could have just kept going.
Yeah, but then Dragon King came in, and I honestly thought for a moment there that Dragon King was gonna say something to Brainwave, like, "Why are you talking to Cindy?" or something like that. But he was just like, "Man, okay."
That's what I was kind of surprised too, because like I was gonna at least him like say something, but that could also tease like. I feel like if he would have said something, it would have been for a tease for a betrayal. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if he would have said something and then nothing happened, nothing came of it, it would have been like, what's the point of saying something? And then this way, it's like also guaranteeing, yeah, I said it, and your dad feels this way because he saw me say it and didn't disagree. It's almost like an exclamation point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Your failed experiment. Nobody cares.
I was
you
like,
will never be an ISA.
Her dad called her that. Like Brainwave called it up. Like, how many people know I'm a failed experiment? Dang, like, come on.
I know. I just wonder what kind of like catastrophic eruption she's gonna be when she finally gets out of that little cell, you know.
I feel like that's definitely something that could happen in the next episode, and only because the photos that we've seen, they're in the tunnels.
Yeah.
So it's everybody in the tunnels. Some way Cindy is coming out of that room during that battle. I don't know who gonna do it, but I know she's coming out.
And so is a certain other giant monster.
Oh yes,
so?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a good question. He is locked up, so I feel like the only way because there's actually a lock on that thing, so somebody would either have to get away or let him out before.
What about if our man or not our man, Dr. Midnight unlocks everything down there, Shiv and or like all the locks, because that could also lead and tease for something in season 2, because they might be something that we haven't even seen yet, like other doors that were open. You know what I'm saying? Like they could have had like a mini jail cell for like different creatures or superhero or villains that we don't know yet.
The only reason I don't think Cindy is because that lock on that door is old school. It's not the same one as like Solomon Grundy is. It's not even electronic or something. So that's the only reason why Cindy's how she has to get out from me has to be a different way, because that whole door is old school.
Yeah, but we got one episode, so they ain't doing 2 different ways to unlock 2 different people. They just gonna have one jailbreak.
Well, and we'd love to hear from the audience too on what they think about this, and if you guys have predictions, which we'll get more into predictions in a few minutes, but if you have any predictions on Cindy, whether or not she's going to escape, let us know in the comments.
Okay, so let me ask you guys a question, because I'm really interested. So when everybody got at the cabin, I mean, obviously Rick's okay because his uncle don't care, but in my mind I wonder what Yolanda and Beth told their parents about why they're going to just be out.
Oh yeah, because Yolanda, like her parents,
she's still on lockdown, like, technically
going to after school programs. Yeah, so how is she getting out?
Yolanda been sneaking out at night. The one that Dr. Midnight, I don't know how she didn't tell her parents. She tell everybody everything, too much of everything. So like the fact that she's sneaking out every night doing all these different things, it's probably like, oh, you have friends? Go ahead, girl. Go have a sleepover during the weekend.
Totally. I know. And her mom works
loving
nights.
This time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, because even a couple, obviously when they got their stuff, like Yolanda got, to be Wildcat, Rick got the hourglass, and she had the glasses. Because we didn't talk about it during that review. However, did like you guys catch how her parents walked in and were just like, "Where's breakfast?"
Yeah,
because she normally did it, and like I mean, granted we didn't talk about it, but now I'm thinking about like, why ain't child making breakfast? Here's a better question.
That's how much. Well, that kind of goes against my thing, because then they would definitely notice when she's gone. But like that's how much like she did for her parents. Like she was always talking to them. She was FaceTiming them during lunch. She was making them breakfast. I'm like, what did these people do? But I guess they were annoyed enough not to want to talk to her during lunch.
Yeah, they were probably like, oh my goodness.
Her mom worked with Dr. King doing some research, and her dad worked for the American Dream. So like, so I mean, they both worked in different ways to further Blue Valley's goal, whatever it is, even though they don't really know the villainous stuff behind it.
Is it really villainous though? Like, what did y'all? So I want to ask y'all that question because I wasn't really happy about finding out what the Project New America was. I don't know if like we're skipping over or anything, but like that's like when I heard what Project New America was, I was like, all right, so why did they make it halfway good for the audience? Because like now we have to decide yes, we have to decide what's good and bad, but like they're supposed to be the villains. Period.
Yeah, they were like, everyone rejoice, Obama is president again, but oh wait, but actually half of America will die, but we're gonna have all this great stuff. So do you care?
I know it was like what, no discrimination for like anybody,
universal healthcare.
I mean, granted, but that's also, I feel like that's also the things that not Hitler promised, but like anything a dictator promises, they promises things for the good. And you think what you're getting is good because it all seems very dressed up, but it's not. Like, I mean, like she said, it sounds great when we hear it, but when you also have to kill 25% of the population for your goal, that's legit like the Charlie problem. That's like you're sacrificing 25 people for 75%. And you can be utilitarian about it and say, killing 25 for 75 is the greater good, but either way, you're still murdering somebody. Yeah, it's murder either way.
But why do you think that the writers decided to make their New Deal like semi good, or especially like with the things that they said, they made it seem like it was actually a good actionable item? Why do you think the writers did that?
Because everything that's good comes with a price. No matter what, everything that comes up just as in a nice package.
Well, they always, I feel like with every villain, they've made them very like personable. Like obviously Icicle, up until like the last episode, I was like, I love Icicle. But yeah, it is true. I mean, everything that's good has like a little bit of bad. Nothing, especially in government, is like all great. There's always a price for everything. So maybe they were trying to say like that, like there's a price for everything, and maybe it's more seeable when it's 25% of the population might die rather than, a little this, a little that, things here and there. I don't know, but it was an interesting, I guess, way to go for the writers. Yeah. I was not expecting that at all for what the actual plan was.
Yeah,
I was expecting world domination.
I was just the execution of it. Like, I get that. Like, there's a bad to like every plan, and like just because you want something good, there's like still a cost. But like, just they just like popped it too quick, saying, "Wait, this is actually like really good," and it never like the message for me never came through. I felt like it was just too rushed. And that's why I had that question. Like, I love Shay's answer, because like it's true with everything. If you want to do a lot of great things, sometimes there's bad, and like you have to like weigh, is it worth it? But like for this, it just seemed like it wasn't established well enough in this episode.
I also feel like it's like a trap. Like obviously this was the vision they had, right? But obviously if Brainwave's the one doing the broadcast, he can flip that message any way he needs to flip it.
Yeah, and we obviously know of Brainwave, whenever he reads people's thoughts, he wants to just basically kill everyone, which brings me to something that I definitely wanted to talk to you guys about, which was this machine that Brainwave goes into, which is like the exact clone of Cerebral.
No, legit. Thank you. I was having X-Men flashbacks when they walked in. It was not even a joke. I was just like, did I just walk into X-Men? What kind of budget are they working with?
No, and I had to like go and then look up. Like I was like, I thought DC and I was like, isn't X-Men Marvel? And
yep,
I was
like,
like, aren't these two different realms? I was like, which one came first? I was like so confused. I was like, who copied who here?
JSA came first in comic book anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But
yeah, but I definitely was like I was hoping I could find before we went live like a side by side of the two to put on screen.
Somebody hasn't done
like,
that yet.
Legit the same.
Oh, 100%.
So exactly the same. And even in the X-Men, it's like, it's the bad guys that are Magneto that builds that first. So it's like the same thing. So strange.
It's just,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at it right now. I'm trying to. Now you got me like, I want to see if I can find them like side by side. I just kind of put them together.
It's interesting. I mean, I know a lot of the comic books, I guess, like, I think they just like kind of, you know, oh, they're doing that, we need to do this, like a competitive thing. But it was interesting to see that it was literally like exactly copycat of one for the other. And I don't know whose story was first, but
funny enough, like, I mean, there are some like differences. Like, look, if you look at Cerebro, then you look at what they shot in the episode for this one, there are definitely similarities, but there's definitely some differences. One, because obviously Cerebro was way up high on the whole thing, and this was obviously like on a more ground level. So there are differences, but like, damn, if they're not close.
Yeah, it was just,
yeah.
I think it's just funny because, like, especially if on the internet, if you see a big globe and one person in there that has to use their mind control to like do stuff, it's almost too similar for us to not make those memes, for us to not talk about it in this after show. So like, they knew what they were doing.
They did.
So it is.
And did you guys think, because so basically Brainwave goes in there and Dragon King tells them, this may or may not work. You'll either be fine or your brain will turn to a puddle of pudding. And he's like, okay. Did you guys think at the end there, with all the lightning and, you know, the craziness, that he was dead for like a moment? Because I was like, ooh, I'm not sure that worked. And then he was like, I'm good. What were your guys' thoughts on that?
Shay, I'll let you go.
For that particular scene, it was first just interesting. Just watching the machine do its thing, because obviously I get, like, he was saying X-Men vibes when I was watching it, but also just seeing how it affects the person's body. And Dragon King's behind a glass, like, legit, he's protected as hell. I just found that very interesting too, because obviously in even X-Men, like, they were behind very like closed doors, so they couldn't even see in, so they couldn't even be a part of what was happening inside, because it was a one person gig. So to watch that scene play out, I hope that he wasn't dead, only because I want somebody to kill him later. And I just feel like if he would have died from that, that would have pissed me off more, because I was not going to be satisfied as a viewer unless he got some retribution for killing his son, because I still have my theory that Henry Jr. is not it.
See, I thought Dragon King was kind of just doing it, or may do it to kill him, because I thought it was just like when he, right before that, he goes and says something to Shiv, and then he goes back there with Dragon King. So that might have been his way of saying, oh, I don't have to say anything in front of my daughter. I could just accidentally let you die. Because if you think about it, what does Dragon King really have to win with the Project New America? Everybody, this is for everybody's lineage, right? This is for their kids. This is so they can kind of live. The Dragon King doesn't even want his lineage. He doesn't want Shiv. So like, there is no win in his book. So that's another reason why I was like, he doesn't really care what happens. He said, you know what, homeboy, you could die. I'm just here. This is my cerebral. I'm gonna make it work, but let you know, strap in and see what's good.
But also because of what happened, and obviously what happens like near the end of the episode, when it actually activates, like the 30-minute countdown is happening. I feel like because when Dragon King fixed Henry Sr., whatever you want to call what he had him in that whole chair with the IV and stuff attached to him, I feel like he tweaked something too. I don't know what it's gonna be for, but like, because you just, like Jeff said, like, what is in it for Dragon King? I feel like we're gonna find out. If we don't find out, it's gonna be teased and something to look forward to for season 2, because there's definitely no way he's not getting something out of it. He's not going to get something that benefits him.
Well, and even what's in it for Brainwave, because Brainwave obviously doesn't want, I mean, he would rather kill most of America than like make a better world, and he has no lineage. So yeah, I think him and Dragon King, it's like, what are they doing it for? They really do want to maybe take over the government, but not for good things, not for what this so-called plan that they have really says.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it says on paper, but I don't think that's really what the actual new America would be.
Yeah, for Brainwave, it seems like ever since he kind of came out of that concussion, he's just straight plan oriented only, like militaristic, like I'm gonna just do the plan. For me, I don't really need a motive from him because he never had a motive to kill his son. He never had a motive to kill his wife. He is just doing this to make Project New America happen. So like he's kind of said that on Front Street. Dragon King, he has never really said what his plans are. He's never killed his wife. He didn't kill his wife. His daughter killed his wife. So he has a reason to be mad at her, but he doesn't have a reason to continue his lineage. He doesn't have a reason to really go out and like work hard for this Project New America because there's no second coming of a Dragon King yet.
Yeah, exactly. So what are they in it for? I guess we'll find out maybe in the next episode or maybe next season. So this episode basically ends and we've got, you know, a lot of the JSA in the tunnels. We've got Pat has now turned against Courtney because he's being controlled by Brainwave. And we've got Barb and any of the other adults that are like frozen in time. And the countdown is just about to be over. So I guess before we run out of time, well, first, Shay, do you have any news or gossip?
I don't. I really wish I did.
Well, no worries.
I mean,
guys.
that's something to think about for next week.
Yes, it is. So we are going to talk about some predictions right now. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the chat. So let us know now in the chat or in the comments when you watch this, and let us know what your thoughts are for next episode and even into season 2. So Shay, I'm going to start with you. What are your predictions for this next episode? And what were your overall thoughts on this ending too, where everyone is? And what do you think is going to happen next?
So that ending was crazy. I felt bad for Beth because obviously Beth really, she really doesn't have a power. So she was really kind of stuck when the gambler came in and was just all Southern. I want to hate the gambler so bad, but sometimes that Southern accent gets like on my last nerve because it's so inviting. And you like, obviously I know you're a bad person, but I kind of just like, I just want to listen. It soothes me for some reason. It could be the Southern in me.
He's like inviting you over for fried chicken, and he's like
some grits.
Come on
like it legit could be the Southerner in me. I have no clue, but like I really sometimes am very endeared towards the gambler, even though I know he's really bad. And then she's just like stuttering. She's like, "Should I tell him my name? Should I not tell him my name? What do I do?" Barb's looking like this, and her eyes are going, and I don't. And then like, and the Chuck has to answer for her so she doesn't, compromise like herself. I'm super excited for the next episode just because of how it ended. And obviously how Brainwave said, I'm connected to everyone and even Pat Dugan. And then obviously being in S.T.R.I.P.E, the whole fight's going to be interesting as hell. Star versus S.T.R.I.P.E. I'm super excited for it. Prediction wise, I definitely think Cindy's going to get out of that, going to get out of her little jail cell. However, I do think she might flip the script and join the fight on the JSA side just to prove a point. And just to prove a point, like not because she's a good person, but because she wants to prove her dad wrong. And she's like, if I can't be on the ISA, I'm going to be on the JSA just so I can kill you like I promised. And then I can go back to hating everybody. So like I don't think she would really change personality wise, but at least the goal of what she needs to do to make it happen might change. Also, I think Solomon Grundy's going to get out, like Jeff said, and I think Icicle might die.
Ooh,
that's how Cameron's powers come into play.
Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Let's start with Shiv. She's gonna get out and she is going to kill. She's gonna kill Brainwave, and I think that's what's gonna happen. And like she's gonna kill Brainwave. She's gonna want to kill her dad, but she's not going to. And she's not gonna be part of the JSA. She's gonna kill Brainwave and say, "I told you guys I should have been part of this because I'm just as powerful as you guys." and then kind of venture off. That's going to be the lead. And I think she's going to be the leader of ISA Part 2 with the Fiddler, with potentially Iceman Jr., like Icicle Jr. I don't know. I don't think he's going to turn bad, but you never know, because with his dad dying, that could literally change anyone. It could kind of teach her either way on how you react on that. So I think she's going to be the catalyst for ISA Part 2. And I don't think we're going to see a Grundy fight, unfortunately. I think it's going to be, because like I say that because I don't think we have enough time for it.
Yeah, that's true.
We have the whole, like, I would love it. And I want it, and they teased it, and I'm mad that I'm saying this, but wait, we have one episode left. If you telling me that we have the whole JSA versus ISA and a Solomon Grundy fight versus Our Man and a Shiv fight versus Brainwave, it's like, it's too much. And then how are we gonna like resolve the ending? It's just like, I don't know about that. But what I do know is Mike is gonna find the superhero in himself, because the staff did not find it for him. So he's gonna have to build something like his dad did. And I'm hoping he like takes on a mantle. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls a what is that word?
Vigilante.
Yeah, that word. He's gonna pull that vigilante type role, because none of the adults are gonna want him to be a superhero, but he's gonna be that type of role in next season until he just joins the team.
I like your predictions. I kind of think we're gonna have like kind of anarchy in this next episode. I think the adults, I don't think that the JSA is going to save the day. I think the adults are going to remain brainwashed. And I think this is when all of the children basically have to step up to the plate and start working together and really become the real JSA. Because I think up to now, they've been not really that together. And wait, did Justin also get
oh yeah,
frozen?
He's frozen.
Okay, he's frozen too. Darn. That's
yeah. But the thing is, like, once they get reset, like, he might get his power, he might get his memory back. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
it might work
everybody's mental is getting rewired. So like, if it's getting sent back to them, then what will people get? And that opens up the door for a lot of different options. And that could be a quick way for him to get his memory back, because like I said, we have one episode. How in the world can they fit everything in there?
Yeah. And I think we're going to end up with a cliffhanger at the end of this next episode. And I think, which is like we talked about, I know, but I think like we talked about, we're going to see Mr. Tuba, like maybe picking up that fiddle. We're going to see Cindy escaping somehow. Maybe she does. I think she will kill someone, whether it be Brainwave or Icicle or maybe even her dad. I don't know, but I think she's going to get revenge on someone. I honestly also think she might let out Solomon Grundy, and maybe he like does some kind of a rampage on the town. So we'll see. Some crazy predictions. But I'd love to hear what you guys in the chat have to say about what your predictions are for the last episode of season 1, which will be on next week, and we'll be right here to talk with you about it afterwards. And so make sure you subscribe to this channel. And then Shay, where can they find you if they want to connect with you? Because all of us would love to chat with you guys about StarGirl throughout the week. If you want to chat with us on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, you can do that.
You guys can find me at Real Shay Jones on Twitter and Instagram, and I just started my TikTok, and it's called Love Shea Butter, but spelled like my name. So if you're gonna say Shea Butter, it's CHAE. Cool.
And Jeff, where can they find you?
And you guys, I guess you can find me on TikTok. I was gonna make a joke. I was like, you will not find me on TikTok, but I am there too. All your social media platforms, even Twitch nowadays. Jeff Will Jr. on all your social media platforms.
Yeah, if you guys are gamers, make sure you go follow Jeff over on Twitch. And you might not find anyone on TikTok pretty soon because it might not exist.
All you gotta do is change it to Canada. You good. Okay, cool. I'm doing the hack for you real quick if you need it. Change your phone to Canada and it'll work. I tried it.
All right, everyone get a VPN. You'll be good. We have the hack here for TikTok.
Yes, we do.
If you don't want to watch us for StarGirl, we can drop you some other hints. But you guys can find me right here on YouTube, obviously, Alice Ford Adventures, and on Instagram at Alice's Adventures on Earth. We will be very excited to talk with you next week. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and have a wonderful starry week.
Peace.